Hello, I'm Dr. Rosie Kuhn, and this is a series called I Want to Be a Better Coach. And the reason that I'm doing this is so that I can articulate more better, if you will, what it is that it's like to be a better coach and want to be a better coach. I'm pretty passionate about it, as you can imagine if you've watched any of my videos previous to this, because there's so many of us that have an opportunity to support and empower people, and we don't quite know where to go and how to do this in a better way, in a more effective way. A lot of good training programs out there, and they take us so far, but maybe you want to go further. Maybe you want to go, I'd like to be more present, more capable, but I'm not sure where to go and how to go with that. So that's why I'm here to support you to do this. I've been in the field of personal and spiritual development for over 40 years. And so I think I got something to offer you. And so here's an opportunity for me to share, and maybe an opportunity for you to get something that you're really looking for. If you are interested and you have some challenges and or questions that you'd like to ask, you can leave that in the comments below, and or there's a form in the description box that is for you to put in your dilemmas or challenges. Now, you might be someone who's a real estate agent, or you might be a person who's a physician or a nurse practitioner, or someone who is working in the medical field or in the beauty world. It doesn't matter where you work, or maybe you're in the business of business and you just want tools and a different way of seeing and thinking about conversations with people. Maybe you're a parent, maybe you're a minister, all kinds of places where we want to engage in a more direct and clear way for ourselves and for the people that we're talking to. So hopefully you'll find some interesting support here on this channel. So today I want to talk about the distinction between therapy and coaching. Am I coaching or am I doing therapy? So that's the first question I'm dealing with today. So I used to be a therapist. I was trained to be a therapist, and it taught me some very specific tools, skills for talking to people. But the most important thing to think about in terms of are you doing therapy or are you doing coaching is the bottom line is, are you trying to fix someone? Are you trying to heal them? Those are therapeutic processes. In a sense, that's the world of therapy where they're, if you think of physiotherapy, my cat's come to visit. Hello, buddy. Physiotherapy or psychotherapy, there's issues that people need help with. They need some healing from the past or some healing from their, for physical issues. So when we're thinking about healing, that's more of the therapeutic field. Think about it that way. Also, a lot of therapists, a lot of therapists are trained in terms of personality disorders. And the licensing is really to make sure that people are able to function as supporters of that population. And a lot of people, there's only actually 10%, I did some research, only 10% of the population, at least in the United States, has personality disorders specifically where they've been diagnosed. The rest of us are on somewhere on the scale and spectrum. So therapists are trained to support and help us or heal us from the traumas or issues that have keep us from functioning or becoming higher functioning. So if you think about it, again, if you're wondering if you're doing coaching, are you trying to heal or fix something with the client? If you are, that's not coaching. That's something else. We'll just call it therapy for now. So that's one really good distinction about therapy. Now, when I trained to be a coach 20 some years ago, and I think it's still true now, one of the elements of coaching that was most important was that coaching is inquiry-based. We're here to ask questions to support and empower our clients to support and empower themselves. So if your coaching is inquiry-based, you're on the right track with coaching. If you are doing more problem solving or advice giving or counseling, that's not coaching per se. So just be aware of that. If you're wanting to improve your skills as a coach, You want to start thinking more in alignment with how can I ask the question in a way that is supportive of who my client is and where they're going and how they want to be in their life and what they want from our conversations. If you're not asking those questions of yourself, you might be entering into a field that's other than coaching. That's good. That's okay. I don't have any judgments about that. But if you're calling yourself a coach, then what are you doing as a coach versus I'm a problem solver, or I'm a counselor, I'm a financial advisor, I'm a nurse, medical person. What are you doing and how are you being in those roles? And how can coaching be supportive of that? I think coaching is a tool that anybody and everybody needs in their toolbox, especially therapists. I think it's a really wonderful tool. Again, having trained as a therapist and moved towards and through this process to become a coach at this level, I kind of see the value of all of it and just being clear about what's mine to do as a coach and what's not. So that's that. So again, therapists are trained to work with personality disorders specifically. It's quite often a medical model, which means there's something broken, something wrong, there's a problem, and it needs fixing. And our job as therapists, I'm not a therapist, but as a therapist, the job is to support and empower the individual through that healing process so they can really own who they are in their highest potential, which is what our job is as a coach, is to empower people to empower themselves to their highest potential. So number 2, life coaches are trained to support and empower people. You've heard me say that, to manifest the results and goals they seek. So goals, coaching is more goal oriented. Now, if you think about it, therapy is goal oriented. A therapist wants their client to be whole and healthy and able to function and at a degree where they're thriving. So we all want that, but the focus is different. Sometimes, again, with therapy, quite often there's a problem that's needing to be spoken about and talked about and potentially healed or fixed. In coaching, we're saying, here's a result. What's the result you want? And I as a coach, I'm going to get you there. So that's goal oriented. And the goal can be, hey, I just want to feel better in myself, or my life doesn't have meaning, or I'm confused with what's going on in my life, or I'm stuck, or I have some healing issues or some physical issues that I'm dealing with and I want some support. But there's always that question, what is it you want? What is it you want by this work with me? And in asking people that question, they get clear about, here's what I want. I want to be thriving. I want to live in my fullest expression of myself. I want to be able to sing and dance and just be me without the fears. I don't want to be so self-conscious all the time. So there can be very sort of looser goals, if you will, but we're always working towards, if you have that level of freedom of expression, what is it you'll have? In a sense, I'll have something. Freedom of expression gives freedom of expression. That's what I want. And I want to be able to create from that place. Excellent. So when we ask the question again and again and again, I ask my clients every single session, what is it you're wanting today? What is it you're wanting from this conversation? Then it isn't about problem solving or I'm really stuck. I'm stuck. It's like, okay, you're stuck. What is it you want from our conversation? And some people might go, oh, isn't it a no-brainer? I want to be unstuck. But quite often, being stuck is a safe place because we know how to be stuck. Most people have their patterns and their habits and their addictions, and they know how to be within that habit, pattern, addiction. They know how to be themselves. They know how to be not themselves necessarily, but they know how to function within those patterns, those identities, those addictions. And so if we as life coaches and transformational life coaches are able to listen, we can hear, wow, this person is kind of stuck, but what do they get out of being stuck? Like stuck can be a very safe place. I was speaking with a client today, and we speak every week. She's just great. She's a great client in the sense that the work is stirring in her all week long. there's a lot of times you may have experienced this where your clients they have a session with you, and then the rest of the week is kind of, they go into a different zone. They're not even aware that they had a conversation with you. And so when they come back with another session, they don't even remember what you talked about. Well, this client is different in that she's really working the stuff that we're talking about. It's really working her, she's working it. And she started our session out by saying, I'd rather just keep being in this work and not actually arriving at my desired outcome, because I don't know how to do me in that desired outcome. And I think this is true for a lot of people. And again, this doesn't become a therapeutic issue. It just becomes it's a human issue, because most of us in our existence have that place where we go, I'm more comfortable here in my little safety zone, comfort zone, than I am at the edges of my comfort zone. I'd rather stay in here. And if my client and I were laughing, we'll call her Mildred. Mildred and I were laughing because it's like she was this caterpillar, if you will, and each of us as a caterpillar, at some point we crawl into and create this chrysalis where we're really moving through some stuff energetically and vibrationally, emotionally, which is energy, physically. We're working it. And then at some point, if you think about a butterfly, at some point there's a crack in the chrysalis, and some of that iridescence of a monarch starts to show. And my client wants to go, nope, not showing, not going, because it's scary to become, because most of us don't know how to become. And this takes me to my next point, which I'll make in a second. But we're really paying attention to this process that our client is going through to get to where they say they want to go. So in a sense, if I was driving from Seattle to New York City, that's a long way, and there's a whole process. And making progress is one thing, but I can distract myself with radios and podcasts and other people's conversations. I can distract myself and never actually have the experience of moving through this process to New York City. That's how most of us live our life. We don't actually experience ourselves in the experience of us. We're doing and distracting, and let me get there, let me get there, let me get there, let me be busy, being successful, improving, proving, but we're not actually experiencing ourselves. So life coaching can support people in experiencing themselves as human beings. So that's not a field or piece of the therapeutic process. It's part of being a life coach, is we're coaching people to actually experience themselves in their life. And that includes, I don't know how to do me, or I don't know what I want, or I don't know what I feel. I don't know what I think about this. I don't know. That's a really huge portion for me of being a transformational coach or a coach. Life coaches, we come to these places where we don't know how to do ourselves. So this is part of that conversation. But again, we're not trying to fix it or heal it. We're just going, wow, this is you being you right now in this moment. That's interesting. What's it like being you? And again, that goes back to the questions as opposed to trying to fix or heal. Person has a dilemma or they're stuck. It's like, let's get you unstuck. It's like, no, that's not the point of life coaching from my perspective. I've done it the other way, because and people don't want to be unstuck until they're ready to not be stuck anymore. So it's part of our job to support them where they're at, support and empower people so they can support and empower themselves in these moments, which are uncomfortable, new, expansive, generative, because this is new for them and uncomfortable, just like it is for you. This conversation you're having with me, if you're listening, you might go, yeah, this stuff is really uncomfortable. It's like, yeah, it is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable because it's new and it's expansive, and it might create some irritability or discomfort because you go, I don't know how to do that. And it's right. You don't know how to do this. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't practice it enough, but through practice and through intention, you will grow, because you'll be listening differently. Just by watching this, you'll be listening differently to your client and asking questions in a different way, being more curious about how they be them, how they make choices in the world, how they choose, as my saying is. All right. I want to focus on for number 3 is I want to mention ontological coaching. I don't know if you have ever heard that before, that term ontological. Ontology is the science of the languaging of being. Languaging our being. So when you're having a conversation with a client or anybody, each of us are expressing and languaging our being. We don't focus very much, like hardly at all, in our consensus reality. We don't focus on being, we focus on doing. But the truth is that our doing is a result of our state of being. And how we do anything is again sourced in how we're being. So if I'm angry, bitter, scared, frustrated, what's my doing going to look like? If I'm open, expansive, trusting of myself, what's my doing going to look like? Can be the same objective, the same behavior, but what's the expression that comes through that? So quite often people can like their job or not like their job just based on their attitudes and their belief system or interpretations about what they're doing. A long time ago, coaching was coaching was not the thing. And so I felt embarrassed about calling myself a coach. And so my coaching was a reflection of that. So the more that I became clear about how am I being with my clients when I'm in the session, I could be clear about, wow, I'm being in a certain way that is not open and present, but something else. So I'm in ontological work. I have to be present to my own state of being, but also my client's state of being. And quite often I'll ask, and also coaching takes place in the present moment. We think about coaching being futurizing. What do you want in the future? How do we get you to the future in 3 months, 6 months, 10 months? And that's part of it. But what's happening right now in the moment in you as you're imagining the future? What's that like for you right now? And this is the quality of the ability to be with a client right here, right now, because this is where coaching takes place, and asking those questions so they can experience themselves having this experience of imagining the future. That's awesome. And most of us are not given the opportunity to do that. What's it like being you right now? What's it like being right now? And people go, I don't know what you're talking about. And that's a training for our clients. I have to train my clients to experience themselves because most of their life they're not trained. They don't know what the state of being is. They know states of happiness, but they don't know how they got there in a sense. They know states of anger, but in a sense, the progression or the process or the evolution of the self in these states of being, we're not very familiar with that. So for me, part of this conversation is if I'm focused on my states of being, is that therapy? It's like, no, as a coach, a life coach, I have to focus on your state of being so that I can understand and you can understand. You've got somebody, a thinking partner, listening to say, hey, isn't that interesting that in this state of being, there's a resistance and a bitterness, and you don't want to know, you don't want to get found, or you don't want to stop being lost or stuck. Isn't that interesting? So by exploring what's happening right now in these moments, whether it's stuck or elation or breaking through that chrysalis, it's really good to say, wow, what's it like for you right now? The other piece of this is, for instance, my client I was talking about, Mildred, today, she's had some invitations to do something that she's been wanting to do. She wants to do these things. And now that she's got the invitation, she's going, don't know if I want to do it because I don't know how to do me or be me in sort of the authentic expression. I'd rather just stay in my little chrysalis. And this is true for so many people. And as coaches, we got to be aware of that. Like, wow, isn't that interesting? You want to crawl back in there. And I totally understand that. I know what it's like I don't know how to do me. And again, we'll talk about that in a minute. But that sense of here's a place where it's becoming obvious for Mildred and me that she's open, her chrysalis is beginning to dissolve and she's becoming more available to these invitations, things showing up that are positive for her. And she's going, I don't know how to do me in that. I don't know how to be me. It's too scary. She wants to crawl in, put duct tape around her chrysalis so that she can't get out because it's a comfort zone. So as coaches, we want to be aware of these moments where the chrysalis may be expanding or dissolving, and it's kind of scary. And rather than saying, oh, you can do it, push through, we want to go, no, just be right here. It's scary. And it will evolve in a sense that things are happening organically. This is such an important part of, for me, of coaching, my style of coaching, that there's an organic unfolding. And if we can honor that organically, we don't push, we don't cut, we don't do whatever, fix, heal, or whatever to try to make this go faster. We honor the process and we honor the individual in this experience. So with Mildred, it's scary for her. And at the same time, there's a sadness and there's some other elements that she's experiencing for herself. We don't want to jump over that. We want to be able to experience this. Again, as life coaches, this is life experience that's occurring. We want to honor every step of the way. And that honors the client, and it helps the client honor themselves and the magnificence of them empowering themselves through this. So that's really important. So ontological coaching, or just the focus on being, how are you being right now? That's a really important piece. The fourth piece I want to mention is the distinguishing being present and presence. In a sense, again, coaching takes place in the present moment, where we may reference the past, we might reference ways of being in the past, but we bring it back to here right now, because in a sense, we know everything is happening in the now. You've heard this probably before. It's like everything is happening now, so we can reference that, or we can reference the future, but now we're going to put it together right here in the present moment. So we're coaching to the present moment. We're coaching to presence of who's in front of us. We're coaching from our own presence with our clients. We have no attachments to our own past or presence or future. I mean, so we're not thinking about how do I keep this client, or this client was a pain in before, or they didn't show up last time. All that stuff begins to dissolve, and we're right here, right now. And that's where coaching takes place. So that's a really good thing to practice. This is where coaching takes place. We want to futurize. That's a tendency that we have, but the actions take place and the practices take place right here, right now. The fifth item I wanted to discuss today was, and this is true, I think, for every single one of us in humanness, is people know how to be themselves in their strategies and in their managing processes and in their personalities. And that all works to a particular degree, and then it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't create fulfillment. It doesn't create expansiveness. It doesn't provide an opportunity for what we say we want to occur. We can't manifest because we're so focused on holding things the way that they are, is there's no room for manifesting. So part of life coaching or transformational coaching is to support and empower people to support and empower themselves to let go of what no longer works, what's not in alignment with their highest truth and their highest manifestation. And our job is to support them in that. And 99% of my clients are going, yes, I want that. And I don't know how to do me. I don't know how to be me with that. And I wrote an article a long time ago called "People Want Transformation, They Just Don't Want to Change." We want to pull out the magic wand, have our manifestations occur, and we want to be able to go, oh, I know how to do me there. I know how to, in a sense, people who want children, and they have children, and they go, wow, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to be a parent. I wanted children. I wanted a family, but I don't actually know how to do this. And so our whole life is spent learning how to be me learning how to be me, you learning how to be you. And that is you as a coach. You're learning how to be you as a coach with every single client in every single session. You are learning and growing. So that place within yourself where you can say, oh, I don't know how to do that. It's like, I don't know how to do that as me. So we're saying, I don't know how to do that. It's like, nope, you may not know how to do that. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. Let's see what's there. Where have you already been doing it, but maybe not in a way that you even we're aware of. Again, with Mildred today, there's a part of her that is very afraid that she can't do things, she can't be herself. And I said, Mildred, every week you and I spend over an hour together, you being you, authentically expressing what's you. You're doing it already. And she's going, wow, I never thought about it that way. There are places where your clients are already doing and being who that is, that's going to support and empower them to do it over here where they want to have or do or be. And our job is to say, wow, you're being you most over here. Or you shared a story where you're most you over here. Mildred would tell a story like we've been working together for a couple of years now. And she'd say, you know, I'm most myself when I take my dog for a walk Wednesdays from this time to this time. She had it worked out where this is one place, one environment in her world where she was like, I get to be me. And she's grown from that one period of time during a week to many times during a week because she's becoming more and more comfortable with herself. So as a coach, to be able to go, hey, here's where are you already doing you? Where are you already enjoying being you? That's where we're using those questions to support and empower our clients to think for themselves and go, wow, I'm most myself when I'm cooking or when I'm listening to music or when I'm doing writing. I'm most myself when I'm being expressive. Or I'm most myself when I'm with a lot of people. All kinds of ways that people are most themselves. We just have to ask the right questions for them to explore and discover, oh, here's where I'm most myself. Here's where I'm most comfortable being me. Here's where I'm not afraid or self-conscious. And this is a great place because truthfully, every conversation that you have with your clients where they get stuck, they're going to get stuck with, I don't know how to do me or be me in this circumstance. So if we know that, then we can be comfortable with them in that state. I totally get it. I know there's a 100,000 places I wasn't comfortable being me. I didn't know how to do me. I still don't know how to do me in the fullest sense. I'm learning every single day. I'm moving into my full potentiality, as I say. That's my intention in my life is to move into my fullest potentiality. I don't know how to do that, in 6 months because I don't know who I'm going to be. So I'm learning how to do me today. And that's what I'm empowering you to do is explore who you be in this human suit and in this role as a coach or parent or nurse practitioner or beautician, wherever you are having a conversation with people and it feels comfortable. It isn't therapeutic or non-therapeutic. It's just a conversation. But if you're trying to fix, heal, or convert, if you will, then you're probably not going to be as empowering and supportive as if you were just listening from this place of what's happening in this moment. What's it like being you in this moment? What is it you want in this moment? What's that like for you in this moment in saying, this is what I want? And when I was training in recovery work, one of the things that showed up was in dysfunctional families, most of us weren't allowed to think, feel, need, or want. We weren't allowed to know what our feelings are, our thoughts, our needs, or our wants. So when you're speaking to your clients and they say, you ask, what do you want? And they go, I don't know what I want. I know this is uncomfortable, but I don't know what I want. And I don't know how to do me. I don't know how to think or feel about me. I don't even know. Just be aware that that's normal for so many people who have come from families where they weren't allowed to know what they think, feel, need, or want. And so as life coaches, we're supporting and empowering people to be able to do that. The last piece I'm going to talk about here is accountability. One of the big distinctions with coaching is that our clients have the capacity to be accountable for choices that they're making. They're able to go, oh, I get it. I see how I'm doing this. They may at first choose to see themselves as victims or say, it was because of my parents or because of my upbringing, because of this trauma, it was because of this that I'm this way. And that's one thing, but then to go, okay, great. So now you are here and you now have the ability to move forward. It can be incremental. We coach to the gradient. It's not like this all the time, but our clients have the capacity to go, okay, I want to make a difference here. I want to be empowered to make these choices for myself. I want to create the life. Most of us just say, fairy godmother, just wave your wand and let me have it. But again, we don't know how to be in that place of perhaps happiness and bliss. We have to cultivate the capacity to have that and be that. So I hope this is helpful. Leave comments below if this is helpful, what pieces or parts were of value to you. If you feel like sharing this with other people, please feel free to share it. And in the descriptions below, you'll find a lot of places, what things that I'm offering. There are lots of offerings. But one thing that's coming up in September of 2024 is an intensive and transformational coaching. So it's a 2-day, all day intensive, 2 all-day intensive. And there's more below in the link. So just check that out and see if it's something of interest to you. It's one of my favorite things to do is to train and teach. And this course it's live on Zoom. So you'll be there and we'll be working together. So I hope you find that interesting. And that's pretty much it. I'll talk to you next week. Bye for now.